This is the Red Yellow Show with me, Josh Everton, Andy Simcox, Alan Smith, and Tracy Martin. We are back, and there's quite a bit to discuss from last time we were here. Matt Roberts has signed, Jackson Smith signed. We had his first pre-season game, a 3-1 win against Alfreton, and then the biggest talking point of recent time, them 3 kits that have been released. So we're going to give his opinions and thoughts on all those things. Let's get stuck into it. So, Andy, we'll start with we'll work backwards in terms of the most recent things. So we'll speak about the game yesterday. Channeled a bit of inner Gareth Southgate by the looks of it. 1-0 down, then came back to turn it around and win. And obviously a nice little run out for new signee. Jackson Smith starts, Matt Roberts starts, Conor Owen's part of the coaching staff. So you can sort of see a little bit what his role looks like this season. But ultimately, it seems from Darryl Clark's interview, happy to sort of get the rustiness away and just start it, but didn't seem overly enamoured by the performance from what I was hearing from him myself.
No, and I read the same thing. I didn't go, but you know, the first game, for both sides, for Alfreton as well, it's like you say, it's about getting your legs going in a competitive match and blowing the cobwebs away and starting the road. You can be fit, you can keep yourselves fit over summer, but you can be ring rusty or not match fit and what have you. So it's good to get a bit of competitiveness in. There was much stuff about players that didn't go as well as those that did go. I was pleased that Max Watters scored because he gets a lot of stick. But so that were good, and Josh Hill, no Donovan Pines, so that were a bit of a shame. He's not quite. It sounds like he's from his surgery in the summer, he's not quite there, but he's close. So that'll be helpful. I mean, they're gonna be rusty, aren't they? And it sounds like our defence started where it left off, being a bit rusty. I also think goalkeeper didn't do anything wrong from what I've read, but didn't have a massive amount to do. Apart from picking ball out at net ones. So good luck to them all. Cosy started, that were a good thing. No Connor, he were on the coaching side, if you like. So I thought he might have get his thing going again, but sometimes you've got to try to. Then all younguns came on, didn't they? And did well. It started like when they all came on about 60 minutes. They did better than the starters, but it's a start, isn't it? And build up gradually, get there. And, it don't matter, we won 3-1, but if we'd have lost 3-1, it really don't matter apart from, the winning mentality. So good luck to them, bit by bit.
Yeah, it is a bit like that, Alan, at pre-season. Obviously, results aren't necessarily the be-all and end-all of it. It's more, especially these very, very first games, it's all about getting minutes in legs and just sort of seeing what everyone's looking like this season. And it'll probably give Darryl Clark a little bit of an understanding of where we do need to improve in the transfer market moving forward as well.
It doesn't. It was great to see 22 players get time up pitch yesterday and no injuries. So that were good, and nice to see Josiah Dyer get a goal, because watching him last season in under 21s, he looked sharp, he looked good and clinical in front of goal. So nice. I bet Bruce had a good night last night, knowing Josiah had scored for more or less first team. So let's see where it takes us. And nice to see MDG, Roberts and Earl in defence yesterday. Plus Captain Connell. That's the one. Captain Connell. It's the future.
The only problem I've got with that is I'm pretty sure the last 3 captains we've sold. Mads went, Kitchen went. After you told us he won Al as well. And then Jordan Williams has gone.
And it was the same. It was the same before, because Mark Roberts was the captain when he was sold, as was Connor. Kiss of death.
Not a good track. Not a good thing. Track record wise, he has taken over the armband. Tracy, as Al mentioned there, nice to see sort of when the younger players came on. I think there's one of the trialists from Sheffield United as well, who, from reading Doug O'Kane's tweet, seemed like he had a really good game.
Yeah, 2 trialists, I think. There was Milan and Ben, who's apparently they're both free agents, but he's been at Zebra Elites, that extremely well-known 3rd Division Belgian side. So
One of my favourites. One of my favourites.
Pedigree. Not that that's any distinction to Milan. He might be amazing. And yeah, Conor Barrett was is the Sheffield United player who apparently set up the third goal. Again, a free agent. So I guess we're just having a look at him really. And I think he plays sort of full back, but played in midfield. So 20-year-old free agent, nothing to lose, I suppose. But yeah, he seems to have made quite a big impact. I thought it was interesting that McCarthy, Lapata, and Shepherd all played in the under-21s, which is a bit of a surprise when, obviously, second half you've got other players. So I don't know if it might say nothing about Darrell Clarke's thoughts for the season, but it also does make you think, are they potentially going out because it looks like we're interested in this Emmanuel Longello from Birmingham if he's not already signed. And again, he plays left wing back but can play as a centre half as well. So I think, does that say something about those three? I don't know. I would have expected at least a couple of them to maybe go with the squad yesterday. But yeah, it's interesting times. It seemed like they played quite reasonably well. Like Andy and Alan have said, it's difficult to read too much into it. It's good to get minutes into the legs. No injuries, and to have a look. And apparently, I didn't go either, but I heard that Connell was quite influential from set pieces, which we know he can do. Apparently his corner was fantastic for the goal. And then also our good and amazing winger that is Barry Cotter was amazing run to set up Max Waters. So that's great to hear for the season, because as we all know, I'm heavily involved in the Barry Cotter Appreciation Society. And although disappointing to hear that Matt Roberts was taking long throws and not Barry, so we need to have a word about that.
Yeah, I don't get that, because to be fair, Matt Roberts' style is a little bit better, just sort of how flat he sort of throws.
Yeah, but do we not want him in the box?
Exactly, that's the conundrum you've then got someone that's 6'4", 6'5", and can win those headers.
Barry Cotter does a good long throw, and we're all being chuffed with his long throw, the mercurial buzzer. We know, but Mark Roberts can get it to the far post. And let's be right, we'll have Big Cozzy up there, Big Donny up there, and Josh Earl, who's hardly 3'3". He'll be up there. I think that's enough. Get it to fast stick.
Sounds to me like we're setting up one of those teams like a Tony Pulis Stoke 2008 side.
We'll get Delap in. Delap in.
We're playing only for set pieces this season.
Yeah.
American football, I'll tell you. American football, bring a different team on for set pieces. If it's a throw-in, get Mark on. If it's a corner, get Conor Hourahan on. Although, like you say, it looked good with Luca taking an outstanding corner. So, maybe not.
I think one of the other things as well, Al, to mention is obviously Max Waters on the score sheet, and I think he missed an opportunity as well in the first half as went through, and I feel like that's something that he never seemed to get into those positions last season. He never seemed to get into an area where he could really score, or like he'd break through and go through one-on-one, which it seems like he's started this season with a little bit more impetus.
It is. I don't think he had much of a chance, did he? He was frozen out by Neil Collins, I think, so he didn't get much of a chance. And I thought he might have been sold, but looking at it, he's worked hard, and let's see what we can get out of him this season. We might see the best under a new gaffer.
Exactly, it'd be nice to see. Right, moving on from Alfreton now and working his way backwards. We'll leave the kicks until last, I think. So looking at the new signings, because we spoke about them already a little bit. So obviously, Mark Roberts back at the club after, what would it have been, an 8-year hiatus, is it? Or 2016 we sold him? Yeah. So after 8 years away from the club, he's finally come back. So looking back here at the transfer patch. So these are stats just for last season. So he played centre-half all season, made 14 appearances, no goals, 2 clean sheets in the 14 games he did play, and played 898 minutes. So just short of 10 games worth of minutes, which the reason why I've looked at last season is just to see sort of how much he actually played. And it seems from looking at it, Andy, when Birmingham were doing really well, I think he spent a lot of time on the bench rather than actually playing. And I think it's that season he went in the match day squad. But then I think probably once Rooney came in, looking at the switch of when he did start playing, that he's just started to find his way back into side. And obviously he's not played much, 33 years old now, but while saying that, there's a wealth of experience in there that we can use.
There is. I mean, people say not be the same player. Well, he can't be. He can't be at 33 as he were 8 years ago. He can't be. But he's, like we've said, he's still got a long throw. He's got all the know-how around. He used to be, although he's deceptive because he's so big with long strides, he's deceptively quick. He'll not have lost all that. If he's lost a third of his pace, he'll still be quicker than a lot that we had last season. So I ain't too worried about that. It were interesting that Alan's mate, Connor's Callum Simpson, was saying, me and Alan must be quite happy because it's both him and Connor Horan, it's two players that are nearer our age. I think that's a bit, I was going to say a bit harsh on them two, but I think it's a bit harsh on me and Alan, to be frank. But there you go. You can't win, can you? You know, we cry out for experience. Stop buying young ones, get some experience. So we signed two players, and then some people, not everybody, some people moan like mad. Why have you signed somebody that old? You think, well, what do you want? I think it's a great signing. You know, his positional sense were pretty decent, although I thought he was really quick, dominant in the air, and we need that. We especially needed it last season when we got goalkeepers that were dancing on the line instead of coming for it, although it looks like that's about to change. So I don't care how old they are, you know, flipping it. Ronaldo's playing at Euros, or did play at Euros till they got knocked out, sorry. At 40. At 40. So, you know, 30 these days. When me and Alan were young, you know, when we were young, 33, start collecting your pension. But now 33's got a good couple of years left. A good couple of years, easy a couple of years, especially in defence. He's not, you know, he's not having to cover loads and loads of ground. You know, in defence, centre half, you can spend most of the time watching, can't you? I expect him to be central defender out of, presuming we're playing a back three like we did yesterday. I would suspect he's likely to be the one that's in the middle.
That's where he played yesterday, in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose I thought that it'd be Donovan that played there, and it might be. But if he plays there, they're going to do even less running. He's just going to be walking about, watching things. So, no, I think it's a great sign, great experience. He's played loads and loads of games in his career, so I'm chuffed to death that he's back.
Al, it's obviously, as Andy's mentioned there, strong, dominant aerial threats, and obviously an aerial threat at both ends. We saw that with Donovan Pines last season when he came in. Of not only was he helping out defensively, but in the 4 or 5 games he scored 2 or 3 goals, and it's just another weapon that you can attack sides with, and someone else to use. So it'll be nice to have Matt Robertson then. Obviously, big, strong. We know what's needed in this league, and it feels like we're actually assembling it this time.
It is, and if you read what we're impressed and everything, Ryan Reynolds, Wrexham were in for him as well. And if that's true, it's great that he signed for his hometown club again, when probably they'd have offered him probably more money, reading between lines. So is there to marshal defence and fetch MDG on, as we said, there's Earl there in the Pines. So I think, you know, he's part of the spine, isn't it? So, and Connor as well, who'll come in and out of the team as well. I think it all goes well to have some experience. And I think in last few seasons, we've lacked that. We've really lacked that. Somebody to take the grip and on field of play and say, come on, lads, we can do this. And yeah, let's hope it works. And good luck to him going back to Barnsley. And I think they've got a new home, what's being built as well. So moving back home from down Birmingham.
Look, or wouldn't. Look, or wouldn't.
I'm glad he ain't commuting each day from Birmingham. That's good to know.
I mean, look at it.
Look at our drive.
Look, we've got either Luca or Connor chucking it, or even Adam Phillips chucking in corners or free kicks, and we go. You know, we could have Cosgrove, Pines, Mark Roberts, Earl, all going up for corners. I spent last season watching our corners, apart from when Donovan were playing, thinking, chuck a corner in, they'll let it clear. Goalkeeper will collect it. It could well change this season. Even though some of defenders there's some attacking options and half there. Whip a corner into them. Why, goodness. Get ready. Get ready for a lot of goals from set plays.
100%. It seems that. Tracy, any reservations of the lack of football which you played last season? Because I think it was a little bit of an injury-plagued season for Roberts. Obviously, as players get older as well, the amount of beating, I think Roberts has played just short of 400 games at 373. Your body does struggle to recover as you get older, especially from the intensity. And I suppose it is a step down from the Championship, which is a little bit less intense, but League One's a little bit more physical in terms of you're going to know you're in a game.
Yeah, I don't think he'll struggle physically because he's always seemed to enjoy that side of the game. If anything, I think probably pace, but if he's playing in the centre of the three, then like Andy says, that should give him a bit of an advantage. I think some would say it's a risk, but I don't think it is a risk. It's a bit like we're just saying about Conor Barrett. It's a bit of a free hit, really. It's cost us nothing. Obviously, his wage will be whatever, but I think the key for me is that it will bring natural leadership. And the one thing that we missed massively last season, when the chips were down and we were in that period of not being able to just get a win, we had no leader on that pitch who could grab the team by the scruff of the neck and basically give them a rollicking or wherever they needed and have a bit of a rant and say, come on, we didn't have that. We were relying on either young players or players that just couldn't do it. And I think he'll bring that naturally. Whether he's captain or not will make no difference. He'll do that. And I think that is key. Whether he does it ideally on the pitch, but even if he's not on the pitch, the influence he's going to have in the changing room, on the training ground, from the dugout, whatever, is just going to be invaluable. And I think that's what we seem to be doing, which we've not done for a while, is we're building experience, but influential experience with key leaders like with Conor and obviously Mark. It's like the link between the coaches and the players, if you like. And I think it's quite good to see. And I don't see what, with either of them, Urian and Roberts, I don't think either of them can do. What's the risk? Well, the risk is they don't play. Well, all right then, but they're in the dugout, they're on the training pitch, they're giving, like we said, MDGO, they're players that have got something about them that just need some support and some help, and they're going to get that now. Likewise, Connell is only going to get better, which is a worry, because the better he gets, the more worry we have about losing him. But by having Urian around him, so I just think, he might not play a lot, but if he doesn't, he doesn't. If he does, great, it's a bonus. So I think the club's done really well. And also, it matters. I think it matters that they're playing for Barnsley. That he's a Barnsley lad through and through. And again, with him and Urian, they've both said, this is where they've always loved to play. So at least we've got players that want it and care about the club. And again, last season, I'm not entirely sure that was the case for the entire squad.
Yeah, it feels very sort of reminiscent of when Adam Amell came back, and like there's just some players and he just works at certain clubs. So hopefully that's another one. And looking at our other signing, Jackson Smith from Walsall. So last season, made 23 starts with made 30 starts, 23 in League Two. 30 starts, 7 clean sheets, 47 conceded, and then for his career, 95 games played, 153 conceded, and 22 clean sheets. And it's a position which we knew we had to recruit in, because obviously we had Liam Roberts on loan last season, and then there's only Ben Killip, who was originally signed as a backup last season. And then you're looking at sort of the youngsters to come in and sort of support around that. So we knew in a position that we need to sign someone in. Jackson Smith Green, 22-year-old as well. Nice to get a young, and it seems like good, because from what Walsall fans have been saying, had a really good season last season, even though the stats don't necessarily back up too much of how it looked. But then again, you could look back at the keepers we've had, and because we'd struggled in the Championship, for example, Luke Steele wouldn't have looked as good a keeper as what we knew he was.
Same with Adam Davis. He started when he signed for us. We were in a very similar position. I'm a bit surprised. I've never heard of him, if I'm honest. A bit surprised that we went for a younger goalkeeper. 22. I honestly thought that we'd have gone for a more experienced goalkeeper. Given the other two that we'd signed. But for everything, I mean, again, weren't there yesterday, but from everything I've read about him, like you say, Walsall were sorry to see him go, wished him well and what have you, is apparently not only a good shot stopper, which, you know, you'd hope a goalkeeper would be a good shot stopper, you'd hope so, but he commands his area, and for me, that 22, 32, whatever age, don't matter to me if they command the area. Because what I can't be doing, I'll show you again, I can't be doing with all this shimmying on the goal line, leaving it to the defence. Although it seems that now we've got a defence that can do that while the goalkeeper does that. We've now got a goalkeeper might come out and say, either punch it or catch it and say, get out my way, that's mine. And that's good enough. That's good enough for me. I've seen some video clips, but, you know, even Smithy looks good on video. Well, he doesn't actually look good on video clips, but he could have done. Smithy in his prime would have looked brilliant. He'd have been playing for England and get video clips of Smithy. His distribution looks good. You know, I've seen a few where, you know, gets ball and can smack it downfield straight at, you know, for a striker or a player to move on to. So you can't want much more than that apart from the experience of the age. And like you say, he's played a number of games. So 22 or not, don't matter. If you can stop shots, if you can command your area and your distribution's good, as opposed to being a rugby union player, put it into touch, what's not to like?
Yeah, Al, it seems like he must have somewhat played his way into the side as well, because he didn't start as number one last season at Walsall, spent a couple of games on the bench and then got thrown in. I'm not sure if that's through injury as well, because it looks like the first game he only played 26 minutes. So it seems like he impressed there and sort of like pushed on from the season. And when we look at younger keepers who've not necessarily had much game time, Harry Ardsley weren't a bad one who we had as well. So it's not really... It's always nice to have an experienced player in, but it's not the be-all and end-all.
It is, isn't it? I think he started his career with Wolves and went to Kettering, didn't he? And so we're all down that neck of the woods. So reading about him, I've not seen him play. I will see him hopefully play next Saturday when we go to Accrington. He's good with his feet as well. So hopefully, you know, he'll push Killip. And let's see who's going to start when we play his first game live on Sky. So it's going to be interesting. But it looks a good signing to me. And let's, as I said, 23 games, and you say he had more games. He had league games. I think he played all last season for Walsall. So he was their number one. So let's see if he makes it as Barnsley's number one. Looking forward to seeing him.
Yeah, definitely. Tracy, it's almost a position where you're not necessarily impacted by the step up in quality as well too much. The only thing you're going to get is obviously the strikers will be more consistent in where they're placed. It's a little bit harder to sort of anticipate and guess. So it's not like there's a huge jump up in terms of quality from being a League Two goalkeeper to a League One goalkeeper. It seems like a little bit of an easier step to take as well, as opposed to an outfielder.
Yeah, and he's been playing, you know, when you look at Liam Roberts and Harry Ardsley, who both did well in their own right. I know Roberts didn't finish particularly well, but to be fair, the first half of the season was outstanding. You know, they weren't playing really. So, yeah, they came from better clubs, if you like, but they weren't actually playing. So at least we've now got a goalkeeper that is experienced, regularly playing each week. And I think the key thing, again, is that his hours, because we've just not had a consistent goalkeeper because we've not owned them. And, you know, we all know about the Iceland might have stayed if Duff stayed, but he didn't. And then, you know, Roberts might be ours, and obviously that weren't agreed. So I just think that's the key, that we've now got two goalkeepers that A, we own, and B, we can then work with. And we've had them from the big, you know, Jackson Smith signed, yeah, all right, he only signed last week, but he's still got time. He's still got all the pre-season games, training with Killip. I just think, again, it's, you know, I don't want to be over positive, because I feel like I've been really positive so far, but we'll get to the kits, so that will change. But yeah, I think, again, it's a good bit of business. Good bit of business by the club. And yeah, I think, I don't know anything about him, so I'm not going to say, you know, but everything that I read and that I've seen on YouTube, etc., looks good. And like I say, the key thing for me is we've got him early and his hours. So yeah, I'm happy with it.
I think as well, just build on your point there. It's a 5-year deal in total, then is it 4+1?
Yeah.
Him on. So 22 now, we're taking him into 27, 28, where he's going to be in his peak as well. So it's really not a bad sign at all. And it seems like we've invested in his long-term development in terms of that, and we do see a future there for him.
How old are you, Josh?
I'm just at my peak now at 27.
I'm going to say
downhill next year.
I thought so.
Apology, this presenting.
It's all downhill from now, Josh. That's why I wonder. I knew you were 27. When you say, "Oh, he'll be at his peak," he'll be at his peak. I thought, yeah.
I hit mine at 18.
It's all downhill from now.
It's been downhill since then for me. Yeah.
Alan knows.
He's only just hit his, isn't he? Right. So the final thing that's occurred, and I'm not sure if anyone's seen it, to be honest, so far. So we'll insert them on screen now. Is the 3 new kits were released this season, and ambitious, bold, are 2 words I'd use to describe them a little bit. But I've got a few questions about them, and obviously the men and women have got the same kits this season as well, which I think that's good in terms of continuity for the teams and things. The one thing I've got, Andy, is no front of shirt sponsor. And from reading what Doug said, they're going to be sold with no front of shirt sponsor.
I saw that, and it's interesting, Josh, isn't it? That here we are on a Sunday morning, and there's been an assassination attempt on Donald Trump. That sadly, a few other people have been killed instead. England are playing in Euro final later on today, but let's talk about shirts and no sponsors, because that's surely got to be top at list. I would have thinking I'm expecting it to be on Sky News later, but we'll see. A lot of people, it's funny, isn't it? Because a lot of people didn't used to want sponsors on shirts, so it don't look right. It's not true. And now not everybody, a lot of people are complaining that without a sponsor on it, it looks like a training top. I don't care. I don't think they can do. I don't mind there not being a sponsor on it. If there's V-files for the women's team, and that's fine. I don't mind. I don't mind if there's a sponsor or not. Training kit, whatever. I don't care. I really don't care. It looks to me without a sponsor, it still looks like a football shirt. I'll think differently, but it's still. I mean, they could have just put red all over on it, couldn't it? And I don't know, although it's not.
No, they've done red all over it
because it is red all over. So I'm less bothered about the lack of sponsor or the fact that we ain't got sponsor. Although it's it's about finance, isn't it? Really, I'm more bothered about the red shorts. I've had enough of that. I think I've got an inkling about why. I'm not going to say it, but I think there's an inkling why we wear red shorts, and I think that makes sense. But we're not. But for me, we're not Liverpool. If I wanted the team to, I'd support Liverpool. If I wanted a team that played in all red. We don't play in all red. Well, we do. We did last season nearly. That's the bit I don't like. All I wanted were red, white, red, and I don't care that there's no other trim. It's a slightly darker red trim. I don't mind that. I'm quite happy. My favourite shirt for years were the Wembley shirts in the semi-final against Cardiff, and that were a plain red. So I don't mind it being plain red at all. I would just preferred white shorts. I could have lived with black shorts, but I don't like this all red business. But that's the only thing for the shirt. And the stars, at least the stars aren't as pronounced. I think I might have binned the stars for once, but again, it's bespoke for us, isn't it? I don't want us to keep having stars. We're not the Barnsley Stars, even though I spent most of last season calling us the Barnsley Stars. But it's bespoke, isn't it? It's not like, it's a Puma shirt that we've stuck a Barnsley badge on that you can get for 3 and 6, but stick a badge on and charge wherever. So at least it's our shirt, presuming we can get them. It's our shirt, but it don't particularly inspire me one way or other.
Tracy, how do you feel about them? Because obviously looking at the colours, we've got they're all full block colours, which it works for one of them for me and doesn't work for the other 2. Obviously full red, full pink and red, and full white, grey, silvery,
grey,
coloured one. Where do you sit in them? Because they've got little subtle details to them, and some of them details I don't like.
I think the concept behind them, I understand. We've at least given reason why we've gone for stars, 21 stars, because an unbeaten run in 1934.
That we always talk about as well, to be fair. We do always mention that.
And before you say it, me and Alan we weren't there. Me and Alan weren't there in 1934.
It was Al's
Let's
first
put it
season.
clear.
Yeah,
Let's put
you
it
got to leave
clear.
the season, wasn't it?
Sorry,
Yeah.
Al. We're not having it, Al. Sorry, Tracy. Sorry.
Not at all. I just remember you were sat on a ball boy at the time, but yeah. So I think at least it has with some meaning behind it. And we talk about the night, but we did a lot last season because we obviously went on that amazing away run, which we kept talking about. So I think at least we've had a bit of thought, and the Yorkshire Rose concept I get, although I'm not sure how effective it is, but I get the concept. And obviously Toby Tyke, I think a lot of people were quite excited when they saw the training kit before the shirt came out with the Toby Tyke badge. Everyone was quite excited about that. So I think that the concept behind it I actually quite like. The colours, the preference, aren't they? It's one of those. I have to agree with Andy. I also think we should wear white shorts, and I know exactly what you're talking about, Andy. And as the woman in red all over, you're right. I suspect it is due to the women and playing. However, why can't they wear different coloured shorts? You know, I'm a Barnsley fan and I'm supporting of the women. The women's England team wear blue shorts and the men wear white. So I don't see why we have to wear the same shorts. The same shirt is important. So I get the concept, and I'm pleased the club has addressed it as a woman, but that doesn't mean the men have to do the same. We're not. That just don't make sense to me. So that's my opinion. The bright pink I think is awful, but again, it's preference. And it's got Toby Tyke in the background, and again, I just don't. I think I see the concept. The sponsorship thing for me is a big one. I know you say it's not, Andy, but for me, I really think, and I don't understand why they've announced that V-Files have done an exciting collaboration with Barnsley Football Club, as in the whole team. Why have we not got the sponsor on their shirt then? I just don't get it, because I already have heard people questioning, are we going to get a different sponsor then? Is V-Files our sponsor? Are we going to buy it and then somebody else is going to come and we're going to have to take it back and get a different sponsor on? Is it going to be like 2 seasons ago where we have 6 weeks of Western Park, 6 weeks of Barnsley Hospital? And from what I understand, the answer to all that is no. It is V-Files. It's just that they're not on the shirt. Well, why? Why aren't they on the shirt? Because I think they do look like a training shirt. I really do. And I think with a sponsor on, all of a sudden, they don't. Whether you like the sponsor or not, it's irrelevant. But I just think it's a sponsor. And if she's paid her money, well, then get your name on the shirt. It just looks better. And my other big gripe is going to be, it's okay bringing out shirts when you can get them on the 24th of July, but only if you're a small, medium or large man. If you're not, you can't get them until the end of August. Well, that's crazy. Absolutely crazy. We're back to where we were last year. We've not learned from any of our mistakes, and that drives me mental. So you can't get a women's shirt, you can't get an XL or higher. What's the point then? It's just crazy. Because also, as we know, last year, end of August went to, well, Andy, where did it go to? End of September, October.
Yeah.
Oh.
Can't live through that again. Can't live through that again.
But we've done it, and there's no prices being announced either, which worries me, because looking at our training kit that's online, it is extortionate. And I don't know how much they'll be. People will buy them, of course they will. We'll probably buy them, of course we will. But you've got to have an opinion, and that's mine.
Yeah, I think just on the sort of price thing, I think once they're announced, we'll talk about that then, because I know Danny Finney, who's associated with the show, had put a tweet out and has done all the maths for it, and the markup from the Puma template that we've used for the trading stuff and how much we charge is astronomical. Is level mark on that, so we'll have a deep dive into that at some point as well, because I think it's going to be an interesting topic.
Have you got a bleep machine? You got
you've got it, haven't you? You've bought it.
We've got some bleeps.
You've got it. Al, where do you sit in it? Because to me, it looks like you've got this season's home shirt on, haven't you, at the minute? It looks very
this
similar.
is my shirt for season. I'm not buying one. This will do me. It's as good as what the new one is.
That last year, Al, you said it last year.
I did.
You'll say next year in all trace.
There you go. I'll say it to you. But what I will say is, since supporting Red since 1959-60 season, it's always been red and white. Barnsley's identity is, eh?
Last year weren't we? Had red last year, didn't we?
Got white on shirt though, Al, haven't it? Don't listen to her, Al.
They were white on shirt. They were white on shirt, red and white. But if this kit's red shirt, red shorts, why not have hooped white and red socks? just to keep the identity. When we're singing at Oakwell, well, Darryl Clark's Red and Red Army, it's not the same ring as Darryl Clark's Red and White Army, is it? It just ain't got that ring. So little bits of socks with hoops with red and white would have still matched instead of all red. I'm not a Liverpool fan. I don't want to be a Liverpool fan. Look what happened at Oakwell with Liverpool. So it reminds me of Gary Willard.
Yeah.
You know what? That's a great link you've made there. That is by far one of the best links you've made. Yeah, I think it is weird. Andy, where do you sit with sort of the little details which Tracy's mentioned, like the little bits of heritage that they've tried to nod back to, but just for me, they just seem like weird in a way, like the stars to represent an unbeaten run in 1934, which no one knew about, or like it's not something that we're always like, oh yeah, remember that unbeaten run we had in 1934. Like I don't think I've ever said that sentence in my life. And then the white
you
rose,
are now.
well,
You're
it's
saying
true.
it now.
And like the white rose for the grey silvery kit, it doesn't make sense to me because the colour's the wrong way around. The rose is darker than the shirt, so it's not a white rose; it's a darkened rose. So for me, that should be flipped round. If the shirt's darker, the rose is then whiter to then represent that. Because the way it looks at the minute, it looks like someone's had a tattoo, like someone has a rose sleeve tattoo, and they've just copied that design and put it on a shirt instead. And then the Toby Tyke one, that's just lost in the fact that it's a solid pink kit.
Bright pink. Bright pink.
Well, you start.
It says it's Barbie pink.
A grey rose. You're starting to talk like all them England fans that are complaining about changing the England flag on back of the football shirts. Flipping heck, Josh. Flipping heck. Don't get too carried away. I don't care. I think the second strip looks pretty decent, to be honest. I think that looks okay. It looks light grey, a bit silvery to me. That don't look too bad at all. The pink shirt, can you imagine? Will dazzle the opposition. I think just playing the pink shirts when we're under floodlights. We're home or away, get the pink shirts on in the floodlights. They'll not be able to stand to look at us. It'll be that bright. It's a winner. I think that's what it's done for. It's certainly. I don't mind whether it's pink or not. I think sometimes with the third shirt, I prefer black. If I'm honest, I prefer black. I've always liked a black shirt.
It suits you, Andy. I can see that.
This is just for you, Al. Just for you. Yeah, I like a black shirt. I think that's it should be red, white, and black. But the third strip is the strip that you can muck about with. Isn't it? For me, it's the one that you can muck about with and be a bit more out there. And so I've just got I thought it was a goalkeeper kit when it first came up, to be honest, because we've had pink kits that have been goalkeeper kits. I bet me flipping grandsons want that one. You watch, they'll want that one and all. You watch. But I don't mind it. I don't. I mean, it'd suit Alan because it'd match his eyes. But I'm not sure it's something that. I'm not sure it's something that I'd buy or wear. So.
No, it's grey one for me, Andy. It can enhance my hair. It won't enhance your hair, but it'll enhance my hair. That grey kit.
Well, I wondered, Al, because red shirts match your eyes as well, don't they? So especially early on a Sunday morning. But no, I don't mess about with third kit if you want, and if people buy it, they buy it. If they don't buy it, they don't buy it. I just think it don't matter what you do. It's either too fussy a shirt, it's not fussy enough. We want to go back retro. It's either too fussy or not too fussy. If it's fussy, we want it to be plain. If it's plain, well, it's just like sticking a badge on. Make it so. All three kits, however you look at it, all three kits are Barnsley kits, and I don't mind any on them. There's some I prefer to others, and some I might wear for this show. Some I might not do. But everybody's they'll have their own views and their own favourites on it, and that's surely that's what it's all about.
It's a simple thing. If you want one, you'll buy one. If you don't want one, you won't buy one. So I want to see them up close and personal first before I
just think get all your.
Oh, you won't buy one a minute. You're gonna look at you. You want to have a look, a feel of it, see if it looks.
He'll get one. He'll get one. Don't listen to him. He'll get one.
I reckon by September, that Cosgrove and Phillips shirt will be down, England will be down, and there'll be a pink, red, and white shirt behind you, Al.
You're optimistic September. I don't think he'll get all three by September.
Hold on, I can put a pink one up now. Kate's got one. Kate's got a pink shirt, ain't you, Kate?
Yeah.
She's got a pink goalkeeping shirt, so I don't need a pink one. I can put a pink one on backdrop.
That's the big thing. I'm with Tracy on the big thing is the availability of it. Me and Alan's got no chance of getting a shirt for ages. And by the time that we'll be able to get a shirt, or people, bigger people, they'll probably not bother. And that's that's the real shame, I think. If you're gonna put a strip out, then put it out that everybody can get. Otherwise, people won't get it.
Just on that though, because obviously I appreciate and understand that it's like all the sizes should be available all at once. It makes sense for them to be in that way. But at least the club haven't hid from it, I suppose, in a way. I've just been like, oh yeah, by the way, there's only small, medium, large, and we've got no idea when the other ones are coming in. Like, at least there's a bit of a time frame on it. Whether that gets stuck is probably out of the club's hands, given the issues with Fanatics last season. But at least there's a time frame on it. And like you said, Andy, people will probably decide in between that period of like, do I want it or not? Because they'll probably see all three used throughout August and go, yeah, no, and then make the decision from there.
I wonder if this is a problem though for other clubs, because obviously the Premier League. I'm not talking about the Premier League because obviously they're different, and you see them in a myriad of sort of sports shops anyway. But sort of smaller clubs, is it just us? I don't know. I don't know the answer. Maybe people will tell us, but because why can't I'm not saying XL is not what I'd call an outsize or 2XL. I just think, and it just seems, why can't we? Is it a Puma thing? Is it a Fanatics thing? I don't know. I think
it's definitely one to keep an eye on, because we've not used a template kit for any of them. So I'm assuming all of ours are having to be made because of the little bits we've got on. So I wonder if that's something to do with it. And I think it would be one to keep an eye on if there's another side in League One supplied by Puma who've gone off the template and created their own thing. Are they having to wait? And then if not, well, why do we have to? And they don't. And I think then it opens
biggest size this season is just 4XL, isn't it? Last season they had outsized. They went and did for bigger gentlemen or lady. You know what I mean? They did an outsize shirt, and this season they're just doing 4XL.
They need to be more consistent, Al, for me with it. And I agree. Maybe it's outside the club's purview, but it shouldn't be. It just shouldn't be.
It feels like one of them things that can be easily mitigated against. Of just do the shirt earlier, and just do the whole process earlier. So by this date, everything's available. Bang, 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 and you can, whatever size, colour, it's coming, and you'll get it. But
surely financially it impacts the club, because people want it for the summer holidays. And then I think people want it for the start of the season, and people then just get fed up and don't bother. So I just think they've got to lose money by doing this. They have to.
Yeah. No one's going to be like, oh, I'll put that, 50, 60 quid aside and just wait for these shirts to come back in stock, given because last season was so successful with the delivery of shirts that all came looking exactly how they should have done as well, and didn't just have random sponsors on or no badges and things like that. Right. We'll be back at some point next week to discuss any new signings, anything else that's going on, because it is a bit of a bitty time, but slowly cranking his way back up there with some content. Andy's still plugging away on doing the best bits of last season, which is flying, to be honest. You're in what, November, December, October?
Yeah, I feel, crikey, I might have to rethink it, because I've got to the end of November, so I'm into December and January. Well, I'm wondering whether I ought to just do the funny bits, because it's looking at those 2 months. I've got some like 19 shows to look through, and I've got a life. So I might just do one with all Alan's funny bits, because I'll tell you now, there's a lot of funny bits of Alan on them all. So I might redo it rather than just go through the whole season. I might just do Smithy's funny bits, because that'll fill 7 shows. So
yeah.
Well, Smithy's number 1 now, isn't he?
I'm excited to see you're going to say, is it going to leave this transfer window?
Don't, Al. Say nothing, Al. Say nothing, Al.
I've heard it from the horse's mouth. Adam Phillips will be here come end at transfer window, and then first of September he's not here anymore.
Don't be wound up. Where I have got Josh, that's absolutely ready to go. I mean, I don't know if anybody will want it, but from last year's FA Cup game against Horsham, the tie against Horsham, the good and the bad of that, I've put together a sort of a compilation. We did 5 shows in total. Me and Alan were the 2 guys from Horsham, plus our views on it all, including the sad finale. I put them together, so they're there to go out, and I'm thinking about getting that out reasonably early now, so that because it don't end well. I don't think it's spoiling it. I don't think you need a spoiler alert to say
spoilers.
Say it didn't end well, and I don't want it to be too much of a downer. But it were an interesting part of our history, the bit particularly to do with Horsham. And I've also got an away end thing that is there that I was going to put nearer the start of the season, where for all those that have go on now. For all those that for all those that have seen it, get the 2 scamps on saying, why don't you support? Funnily enough, why don't you support a good club like Manchester City, Liverpool, or best of all Barnsley? So Liverpool makes a thing in that, and there's about 8 of them that all said why they support their club, which were very, very interesting. Why they support their particular club, and some funny bits and say insightful bits in it. But as you 3 know, I also did it with all the people that contribute to Red All Over. Why don't you support a good club? So we all did it, and I put them all together, and they're very interesting. It's interesting. Your dad will be interested in what you said, Josh. I'll say that much for you.
Yeah.
People will be interested in what Craig said. So I'll nearer to the start of the season, I'll put that out, because then that should be a timely and a nice reminder about why we support our club. Forget the red shirts, forget the white shirts, forget the pink shirts. This is why we support Barnsley.
The pink shirts included as well. Keep your eye out for them. And also, we are on Spotify now as well. So you can catch the show at the gym, in the car. You can listen to us ramble on about our thoughts on white, pink, and red shirts, signings who've come in, games, all that good stuff as well. Just type in Red All Over on Spotify and it'll come up. Although it will be under
Finney for sorting that one out, and he's in Berlin now. Adam.
He is in Berlin to watch the game today. So if you type in Red All Over, it will come up under American football, I think, because that's the only football tag you can put to it. So don't worry if it does say that. That is still us. And the badge for it is the Red All Over one with a black background, and it says Red All Over in red text. So it's a little bit different to this one where it's red and white.
More like Andy's shirt.
Yes, more like Andy's shirt. Exactly that.
Get ready for next season's kit. Red shirts, grey shorts, pink socks. Get ready. You heard it here first, Al.
I think that looked lovely, to be honest. Right, we'll be back next week with another show. We'll see you later.
Come on, England!
Get in!